Hello again, and welcome to the second in our series of conversations with English UK champions and industry leaders. I'm Sian Matos, the principal at TTI School of English and Vice Chair for English UK London. And today I'm really pleased to welcome a lady that needs no introduction, but I'll give her one anyway, Jane Dancaster. As I'm sure you all know, Jane is the MD at Wimbledon School of English, one of London's largest English language and training centres, and one of the top English language schools in the UK. And as well as, she's also a director at English UK and a former chair of English UK London, and continues to support us with our public relations. A very warm welcome, Jane. Lovely to see you.
Thank you, Sian. Thank you very much for inviting me. Lovely to be here.
Oh, you're very welcome. So I just wanted to ask you firstly, just about the lobbying side of things. I know that you're very involved with English UK, and obviously during this crisis, we've been battling away to try and get the government to hear us, to hear about our sector. And I was just wondering if you could just tell us a little bit more about what English UK have been up to, what you've been up to on that side of things.
Yes, well, seems as if we've been in lockdown or in this crisis forever. But the lobbying that we're involved in, particularly at the moment, is the lobbying on the rates holiday for business rates, the retail and hospitality holiday. And we actually started lobbying on this before lockdown, because this was there was an initial concession in the budget, which was then qualified with a proper holiday once lockdown started. And even in the budget, when there was an initial concession on rates, our sector wasn't mentioned. So many of us started writing to our MPs. Yeah. And just, I'm sure everybody watching this knows what's happening, but just to put it very simply, here in the UK, we pay rates which are tax on our buildings. And as schools, we need big premises, so we pay very, very high taxes. And the government has asked local councils, this is who we pay the tax to give a holiday, i.e. no rates, none of this tax, for 2020 and 2021 to certain businesses, mainly within hospitality and retail, and it's mainly actually retail and leisure, not so much hospitality. But they left it open. They left it open for the discretion of the council to decide which businesses should be included. In, I think it's 17 or 18 counties in the UK, the English language schools have been included, so they have got this concession, so they're not paying these high taxes. And in many others, we are still paying these taxes. So to give an example of the amount of money, at Wimbledon, we've got 2 buildings, and for those we pay £100,000 a year for this tax. So it's a huge amount of money. And we being the schools and English UK as well, have been lobbying very, very hard on this. So Hugh and Jodie have both done a lot of work on this, and they've met all sorts of people. Our MP in Wimbledon has been brilliant. I mean, he spoke in Parliament last week. He mentioned us, he mentioned CS in Wimbledon, and he has done everything he can, but it is out of his hands. It's the local council. So in Wimbledon, we've got a petition going. We've got thousands of signatories on the petition. We've submitted that to the council a few times. All our host families have written to the council. They've all written saying how important our industry is. We've been on the radio, we've been in the paper. That hasn't got us anywhere. Now we've gathered together with a load of other local businesses who are also being left out of this.
Okay.
Yes, so for example, people in the film industry, in the arts, entertainment. So that there's a lot of small businesses in Wimbledon that are not getting any help, same as us, and we're all working together. So it seems that Wimbledon Council is particularly difficult. It's called Merton Council, yeah. or the London councils are being particularly difficult, and they're all ganging up together. And they say government has to tell them to pay us, and government says, no, we're leaving it up to you. You make the decision. So I don't want to be rude, but they're being typical bureaucrats in the most negative sense of the word, and that's really tough. But English UK is still lobbying on lots of other things as well. So behind the scenes, they're working so hard, because like everybody else, not many of them are actually working. So everybody's doing 10 jobs. So the other issue that we're still lobbying on is, I hate to say the word, but of course, Brexit and the immigration white paper, and we're just doing everything we can to make sure that the UK is still open and welcoming to our European students in the way that we are now. And we don't know yet. I can't tell you yet, because obviously they are still negotiating, they are still deciding, but we are feeling positive that we might have got some concessions, because again, a lot of the MPs are on our side.
Yeah.
And finally, on the lobbying, the Chancellor has just announced a whole load more measures, but once again, our industry has been forgotten. It's all about hospitality and tourism, and they seem to, who of course have suffered and provide a lot of jobs for people, but they seem to forget all the other industries that have also had to close and aren't looking.
Yeah, absolutely, and we are part of that tourism industry. We're an essential part of that tourism industry. But I think what you're saying, the most important message that we can put forward is that sense of openness, that we do want to welcome our students back to the school. We do want to continue to welcome students to the UK, in spite of all the barriers that have been put in place, obviously not just by pandemic, but obviously we've got Brexit looming as well, as you pointed out. But on a positive note, you are reopening and you've brought your date forward at Wimbledon.
Yes, we brought our date forward to the 3rd of August when the government finally agreed on the travel corridors with some countries. Obviously, we're disappointed. There are certain countries that we would like to welcome back now that still can't come into the UK, but we hope that they will extend those travel corridors soon. So yeah, it's great. We're all ready to go. We're lucky because we opened our exam centre in the first week of June. And so we've got everything in place already. Deep cleaning's going on. We've got the screens up. We've got all the signs out. We've got the markings on the floor. You know, everything has been organised. We've been running exams nearly every day of the week in the exam centre and the school building. So
you've had that experience, people in the buildings.
It's good. It all seems to work really well. The exam candidates and the examiners who come in. Obviously, everyone was a bit nervous at first, you know, when you're first let out of lockdown, and they've all been congratulating us on how we're running those exams.
Oh, that's great to hear. That's great.
So they feel safe.
And I've seen through your social media that you're doing some really great communicating with your students, obviously, but also with your ETOs as well. So you've been having some webinars and getting, I guess, feedback from them, what they're looking for, what they think their students, sort of trying to build confidence, I guess.
Yes, we've had a lot of webinars. I think it's a bit bad, everybody's webinared out now. So we had webinars about our online courses, about our new courses, about our summer courses. The latest webinar was the question answer about safety and opening and everything that we were putting in place, everything that people needed to think about. And yes, we've been talking to our agents and getting feedback and so on, and finding out what they want, what sort of courses they want. But the situation is new for everybody, and I think agents have been in a very difficult situation in the same way that we have as well. A lot of their time has been taken dealing with cancellations and refunds, which is really difficult because it's very time consuming, it's hard work, and it doesn't bring you any joy. So,
no, absolutely.
So I think they're all quite excited that the UK is starting to open up again.
Yeah, I know. Any markets sorry, Jane. Are there any markets in particular that seem more positive, that are more pro returning to the UK and to London specifically?
Well, our Swiss agents are keen at the moment. That seems to be the most positive, but it's also different when you speak to different people. So some other European agents are being quite gloomy about it, but others are positive. But Switzerland on the whole seems pretty positive, so we're relieved that there's a travel corridor with Switzerland.
Okay.
Because it did seem at one point it was just going to be the UK holiday destination.
Yeah, well, it is. It's good to hear, and it's great that you're reopening, and I wish you loads and loads of luck with that. And obviously, just on a final note, London is now reopening as well. Obviously, business is reopening. We can go to the pub, we can get a pint if we want to, and the National Gallery opened today, the first of the our great sort of world-class venues, if you like, has started to open. And we're supporting London and Partners with their Because I'm a Londoner campaign, so looking at local business for Londoners. And I was just wondering what you're looking forward to going back to visit in perhaps in more central London once you get the opportunity, or what you've missed about the capital.
Well, I've already booked my tickets for the Andy Warhol exhibition and the Aubrey Beardsley exhibition.
Oh, that's great to hear.
So I've got that booked because we do have to think more in advance at the moment.
Yeah.
So everything is opening up, but you do need to think and book. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to eating out with my friends. But I also used to go to the cinema, the theatre a lot. The theatres aren't quite open yet, but I'm hoping that they will be open again soon. But they have also been doing some very good online things as well. Absolutely. Other things that I like doing, like sort of walking. We've been able to do for some time now.
We've exhausted the walking.
London's actually quite nice at the moment to walk around in, but just being out and about and seeing people, communicating with people, I think.
Absolutely. And if you eat out in August, you can have 50% off your bill. That's from today.
I know, and also you never know in the UK with the weather. I mean, we had the most amazing 8 weeks, so sort of 30 degrees, and now it's not so good. But I'm hoping that it'll get better soon, because then we can eat outside, which is lovely. There's some really nice restaurants around here. There's restaurants on the river just down very near me.
Nice.
So by the Thames, eating outside, and in Wimbledon as well, we've got a lot of outside restaurants and outside spaces in Wimbledon. Wimbledon is a very green, airy place with a lot of space, so it's good for that.
Yeah, so we'll be able to take
I was going to say shopping as well. I haven't actually been shopping yet, apart from food shopping, but that is something to start thinking about as well. Try not to spend money. That's the thing at the moment.
That's true, but definitely a trip around the shops would feel like a real luxury at the moment, wouldn't it? So
Yes.
bit of a treat, something to look forward to.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Jane. I really appreciate your time. I know you're really, really busy, especially with the opening up of the school. And like I said, I wish you lots and lots of luck for that.
Thank you, Sean. My pleasure. Lovely to see you. See you in the flesh soon, I hope.
I hope so too. Thank you. Bye-bye.